Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As I said before, Rosgrease Gaming back, and as I was saying in the last video, stay tuned for this one because this one was going to be about the changes and the new things that were coming out from this season. And I wanted to get a little more in detail with some of the changes because I thought it was only fair to you guys, fair to everybody here, and fair to everybody in the community that we love in this little channel of ours. So I thought we'd go over all the new ships a little more in detail, and I thought it'd be only fair to everybody here. We go over those new modules and the ships that are currently in the testing phase right now. So we got the Tier 5 Hawkins. As the game says here, pioneering ships led the way. Later classes of heavy cruisers for layout and silhouette is much more common than British light cruisers of World War One, but the Hawkins surpassed the size of caliber and main artillery battery. Anyway, this ship is, well, garbage. I played it a couple times. It's not that very good. Heal points, you do have a nice set of bit of whole health. 32,200, 10 points on the torpedo production. But the problem is yes, you got that 38mm plate, but everything else is 13, top of the superstructure, top of that 16. But here's the Citadel. It's exposed that it's 64 and 76. Because if I remove everything, there's that Citadel. Very blatant, very out open in the water. And if you're caught with this thing wide open, you're good as dead. So, really, if you can get past this thing to Tier 5 here, and you champion yourself beyond it, congrats, because this ship was just horrendous for most players. Now, I'm on the Tier 6, and I grind legitly before anything, especially new stuff, because it's only fair to players out there. Devonshire, and I'm liking Devonshire quite a bit better. Basically, to me, it's just a way better ship overall. 203mm guns, reloads 14 seconds, which is quite a bit. But what's nice about it is that chance of fire, 17%, and that's without. If I double check, remember guys, I just retrained as commander not too far ago. I didn't even put demo expert on this thing so far, and it's been a lot of fun already. And she's just plenty of shooting, a lot of damage per minute, and very decent speed. Her armor, yes, it is a little on the dangerous side because there is that Citadel, but if you notice, that Citadel is 114, and it's way lower below the deck, way deep under structure. So it is less of a chance of getting Citadel. But remember, it is on the front and rears here, 16mm. So I gave you your warnings. Now for the Tier 7, I haven't got here yet. Again, Citadel loaded water, but look how much it increased. 152 on the sides, 102 on the top. And then that plating in the middle, 25 on top, 19 on the side, 16 overall again. What's insane about this ship compared to the other one, it is still 203, but the reload now is even better. 12.3. And you do have a plane now. Now what's nice about that plane is, I haven't got to it yet, but you have the ability to use it as a scout plane and throw further range out than its stock 13.5, and then when you put the buff on it, it goes to 14.08. So that will help you on the pitch. Tier 8, again 203 again, but now it's 9, 3 guns in each turret. So yeah, 13 seconds on the reload, but most of this is on the front of the structure, so it's alright. Again with a plane again, and again with, if I hit here, again, better armor. It's still 152. Plating's now 25 on the top of the deck. It's 30, so it is a thicker armor. You can see underneath there on that Citadel deck, if I remove this, yeah, the Citadel's a little more open, and it's 152 exposed. But it's 25 now on the front and rear, so it's a little better, I think. That rear plating, though, is quite interesting, with it being 76 millimeters on that flat back end. Now, for what I hear, this ship is the good one. From what I'm hearing from a lot of people, the Drake is the good one. 25 millimeters on the front and rear. You got 177 millimeter plating on the superstructure, the torpedo deck. Because if we remove everything here, that Citadel's inside that deck plating. That bulge there, that plate there, protects it a little bit. And you can see it's inside of itself. So there's that hollow gap there. Now I'm wondering if this is a game bug, because most cases when we've seen plating in this game, usually this part here is filled, yet this is exposed like an open air. And it seems like for that reason it's just way much better. Like I said, 177 millimeters. It has the ability to bounce compared to other ships currently in the game. Oh, and also those guns. They're now 234, and they have a reload of 18 seconds. Oh, and that chance of fire? Yeah, 24%. So basically, you have a 1 out of 4 chance of one of your shells catching a fire.
Kill it! Kill it with fire!
That's a very good chance. Spicy memes, anybody? And finally, the big brick of a ship, the Goliath. I haven't heard anything fantastic about her, but she does have, again, 24%, 18.5 seconds to reload. So, it's a big gun. It's a big high explosive gun, but the thing with it is, you can see it's got an H on the back, which means helicopter pad. That's what seems to be what people are not too happy about, because compare that to the Drake, you can see it still has the plane. So you got these big guns again, but instead of a helicopter pad, you have a plane to shoot out, get further gun range than its stock 14, it's maxed 15.9, and buff that even further. Probably even further than the Goliath's gun range. Do you see where this might be an issue? But we'll get into it more at a later date. What I really love to talk about as well, and I'm scrolling this up because, yes, I do own a lot of ships. Thank you. Is those modules. Those upgrades you get. Now, you see, you can do engine boost modification, that, like you said before. But now you have this. You have the reduction for that. And now also your auxiliary has got the change. But also your torpedoes. So now, I can have them, the risk of them being incapacitated reduced, and the reload by 15%. And then on top of that, instead of putting the gun aim on, I can buff these and have the torpedoes now even have, yes, the risk of them being incapacitated is now negative 40%, just like the reduced risk of them being incapacitated by 50% for the reload time. Now they go 5% faster, and the speed of these torpedoes turning. So now I got my torpedoes down to a reload of 103 seconds and a range of 16.5 and a speed of 69 knots. That's not even including the Shima, if you guys been seeing, can do something like this now. Another good example, the Germans. I've got now the torpedoes at a reload of 90 seconds and a speed of 72 knots at 10.5. Yeah, this is starting to get, do you see where this is getting interesting? Republic, or hell, not even a Republic, goes to Kurfürst. Remember that secondary thing? That's switched, as we said before. The gun was removed, as you can see. So now I got the reload time but the traverse reduced. Now, if I hit this, sell it, Now launch the main battery here now, as it's been switched. Yeah, and my AA rating went up. So now I got a secondary buff and an AA buff. And I got my secondaries now to go to a range of 9.7. And that's not including, and we're going to do it right now to show you a good example, taking, let's say, my Tirpitz commander, okay? Which is based on my current first commander. And there, it's got the full secondary build. And now it's 11.6 and still has that AA buff that we saw before. This is where the game is getting very interesting and putting out a lot of spice into the game for damage. And that's not including other ships out in this game and what we could theoretically do. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are going to do for your commander modules and everything else, especially for me as well. Now, the last thing we need to talk about before we wrap this up in a nice bow is some of the new ships on the testing room. A gear, the German, this is a new one that they're currently having the testing phase now. So I thought we'd go look at this and see what so far it is in the works might be. So we got 305mm, which, although we already have this called Alaska and many others in the game. Now let's see what the game transcribes it say. One of the varying projects of a high-speed super heavy O-class cruiser with exceptional protection and armament of 9 305mm guns. Okay, makes sense. Torpedoes the same? Yep, torpedoes are the same. Same 6 kilometers. Concealment 15.1, maneuverability 33.5 knots. AA, which is up the wazoo here. This is stock. 87 rating at tier 9. That's quite impressive. Got 10 quad 20s, 9 twin 55s, 9 twin 128s. That's not terrible. Firing range is up to 6. So let's look at these guns here. 22-second reload, 30-second rotation, typical stop, 27% chance of fire. Typical HEAP. What's the survivability? 37% protection. That's not too bad. And what's the armor so far? Well, 360 on the front plate, 27, 90, 30. The belt there is 90. Now, is it yep, it's turtleback. You can see it's got that turtleback case-made armor. And inside it's 60 and 45 in the middle. Okay, I'm going to say I'm interested, but I don't know if we're actually going to say this is going to be a spectacular ship. We'll see later on if it comes out. I'm sure they'll pull it out of the game. Some other magical project that the Germans possibly made, etc., etc. Russia, they haven't done anything, so we can't talk about anything there. America, we're still waiting on our California, so we'll get to there. Alright, now there's 2 ships in the testing. This is a Kagero class destroyer that's in the works. But look at the guns. 1, 2, 3 guns? Yeah. 150mm. Reload 5 seconds. Rotation of turrets 20 seconds. So, it's... I don't know. The ship enjoyed a good balance. So this is basically Kagero with different guns on it, because as you can see, the AA is non-existent. Its concealment is the same. Maneuverability is the same. Its torpedoes are the same. But now the difference is instead of those dual turrets you've seen on most Kageros, which I can show you right here. Yeah, I got the Halloween camo. Don't complain. Those gun turrets are dual, and they have those little ones on the side. You have at least that as an AA defense. But the problem with me is It's not including these. It's that these 127s here that we're having before, now they're replaced with these giant 150s. Don't really have a very good chance of defending yourself. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that project as it progresses. Now, for those who are wondering about those premiums that they've added, this is the first one you're going to get for free, the London. These are 203s. They are basically London's another Devonshire, but it's a Devonshire premium. She was leading in the second series of County-class cruisers. British Washington cruisers armored with 8 powerful 203 guns. The cruiser was rebuilt, extremely modernized, and undertaken in the late 1930s, which changed the ship's exterior and reinforced with armor and AA batteries. So basically, London was a buffed version of what they built before, etc., etc. You get to get this as a premium for Tier 8. Now, the Tier 8 that you guys might get for a premium. Very nice looking, you know, very traditional. 234s. I was going to say, variants of the British heavy cruisers project developed in the beginning of World War II, armed with 234mm. So basically, you're getting your hands on a premium Tier 8 of the Tier 8, give or take. Because you can see here, here's the Tier 8, 3 guns, 1 in the back. And then you got Chidre. It's only 2 guns. So you get now 6 instead of 9. But the reload's 12.5. And Albemarle's is, well, 203s, and it's 13. So you get in Chedre bigger guns, about the same reload, but less shooting out, but a bigger chance of fire. So, you let me know in the comments what you think about that as it comes, you get your hands on it. Alright? Just like I said, it's going to be interesting. Nothing in Commonwealth has been added, nothing in Pan American. Italians, they're still working on it, but there's nothing really added to the game. Pan Asians, they had their changes. They have some of these new ships you guys could have gotten through the Chinese New Year stuff. But that's pretty much it. They're still working on this French destroyer currently in the game. Now, allegedly in 9.3, we're going to get your hands on this. So, if you really are interested, we'll get to it. But looks like, for the most part, it's going to have the bow 4 defenses like the Swedish and all the Italian, Swedish stuff going out. The main batteries are dual-purpose 127s, which is different than those bigger popper guns you've seen before with the other Italians in the game. The torpedoes, they're longer lancing, so they can do a little bit more of that kind of skill set. And because of you could do commander and thing, you can kind of would be able to do a blind dropping of the torpedoes, but it'd be very, very close. So we'll see what happens in the works as it gets released. But overall, it'll be interesting. 44 knots is stock for the Tier 10 Premium. So, hopefully we'll see what happens in a few short months. How it comes out. Now for the last thing for today. I saved the best for last. That's right, boys. The Yoshima has finally been put in the testing phase and is now being shown in the extended tech tree in the game. Yeah, let's get into it. We definitely need to get talking about this. So survivability 97,200. Now let's go and put that on the board against its own self, Yamato. Same thing. Actually, Raz, doesn't it kind of look like the same ship? Well, duh. Yoshina was basically another project design of it, but a little different. Clearly, you can see, though, there's a lot more planes scrapping in the back of the deck, and on top of that, it's all 2 turrets, 2 guns in the turret instead of 3. And they look a lot more different. Because, yes, folks, Wargaming has said that before, and again and again and again, the Yamato would only have the biggest guns.
No. It's not true. That's impossible.
Well, this is technically Yamato, just bigger guns than its own self. Wargaming, go home, you're drunk. 510mm guns, and 35-second reload, 60 seconds to rotate the turrets. You could buff that up a little bit. And we also have a chance to fire 40%. The AP damage is 19,400. Put that in perspective. The Tier 10 Yamato has a penetration and damage with its armor piercing a sheer whopping 14,800. So these pack even more of a punch when they do a full penetrational shot. In theory, this is the maximum. It could even be less. Reload is 35 seconds, and the velocity of the shells is 7,200 meters a second. Even slower than some ships out there. AA defense is actually very, very high on this ship because, well, they changed the way the AA is on this thing. As you can clearly see, those turrets look a lot different than the other. And that's because they are now 24 twin 40 mils, 16 triple 25s, those Type 96s, the Type 98 100 mils that you so love on the Hiragumos are on this thing as well, and gives you a firing range of 5.8 on that AA department. Speed 27 knots. Concealment is 18 kilometers, so this thing gets seen from orbit. And its armor layout, well, it's the Yamato with the dreaded cheek. Do I need to say any more? Alright, that's pretty much it, folks. So let me know down below, what do you think of the ships that are currently in testing? What do you guys think about this patch overall? Anything else you feel like saying? As always, take care. Hope to see you all on the high seas.